Awesome. Welcome to Scatterbrained, a weekly subpod of MindControllers. I'm your host, Brandon Craw, and I'm joined by my two fabulous co-hosts. We got Joe Moreno, and then we got Brandon Courture.
Hello.
So y'all sit back and relax, listen to our discussions as we tell you all about the video games and media we've been enjoying this past week and weekend. And if you aren't already doing so, go ahead and rate and review that podcast on whatever listening app you are using. That really helps us out, pushes us to new audiences, and we appreciate it. So thank you. So y'all, for today, I wanted to have a more focused-ish discussion on Monster Hunter. I feel like both of you are the Monster Hunter experts, and I am a novice. I supposedly played a lot of the 3DS, and I say supposedly because my friend said that every time he came over to my house, like when I was in college, I was playing Monster Hunter on the 3DS and complaining about it, but I don't recall this at all. I bought the game and played a little bit of it, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what, maybe I just blocked it out of my memory. So, for all intents and purposes, this was my first Monster Hunter experience. And what I am talking about is the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. This was the second open beta, right? There was another like closed beta maybe a few months ago or something like that. And yeah, this was the first open beta. It ran for the weekend. And yeah, it was open to pretty much just anyone. You were able to try out a bit of like the Monster Hunter. Like I think they put you through a miniature, or maybe more streamlined tutorial, and then they had you just like go off and do like some easy monster hunting quests and whatnot. So,
Yeah. Well, there were a couple that weren't quite so easy.
oh sure,
Yeah,
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 Arkfeld.
yeah,
Arkfeld was
Artfeld. When they added that for the last weekend, and
ah,
it took me and my buddies like one or two tries in order to get them down. Yeah,
yeah.
dang,
You're really fighting the timer more than the
yeah,
monster at that point.
yeah. Because
oh, okay,
the gear that they give you is like the baseline gear, and you only have 20 minutes for the fight.
Mhm.
So you gotta just blitz them down.
nice, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I remember Joe was like kind of telling me about the Arkveld thing, and then like, yeah, I that was one thing with Monster Hunter that like gets me a little has me a little bit hesitant is because of the length of the boss fights. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, I can't. I need to just put the game down a little bit and go attend to something else that's happening. And I noticed when I was playing online, well, obviously because I'm playing online, there's no real pause thing. So I think committing to like a potential 30-minute boss fight had me a little bit skeptical about like continuing to play this game. But I do really enjoy a lot of the systems.
Yeah, I
But
mean, if
yeah,
you're playing a video game like online these days, 30-minute I don't know, Overwatch match, 30-minute League of Legends game, 30-minute Fortnite, whatever you're playing these
yeah.
days, it does seem to be a pretty standard time. And uh you can watch speedruns for Monster Hunter World. I'm not as I'm sure Monster Hunter Rise has some crazy speedruns too, but you
Mhm.
can kill these monsters real quick if it's a skill issue if it's taking a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, as you kind of learn the quirks of your weapon, and just get better weapons. The stuff they had in the beta was all the baseline, like the very first stuff you're gonna get. So you'll
Mm,
be doing more damage as you progress
okay.
naturally. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was I think Joe actually told me about that as well, that the items that you get and they start you off with are some of the basic ones. And
Mhm.
I know that crafting is like a major component of the game, and that wasn't in the beta this past weekend. The game's coming out in what? A week from now? Maybe?
28.
8 days.
In 8 days? Oh, okay, okay, a little over
Yeah.
a week. So we're not having another open beta. So it's just like what they're. Yeah, yeah, we're not going to have another open beta. I'm probably not going to get to try it out again unless I buy the game. But I am curious to know what both of your histories are with this game, because it feels like this game has been around a long time. There's some very devoted fans, and yeah, curious to know about your history of it, how long you've been playing, and what. Yeah, I guess Joe, go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, so for me, I was on Monster Hunter on 3DS. So,
Oh.
no camera controls essentially. So it's very clunky. You
Mhm.
know, you need that extra. There was like an extra like little control stick you could buy for the 3DS. Never had that. Never needed it, right? And this was back when they introduced underwater combat.
Oh.
So that was even clunkier because you got one analog
Oh.
stick and you got like, up, down, left, and right. Hey, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my introduction into it. So a lot of like, it felt like carpal tunnel at
Yeah.
times, right? Because you're like struggling, clawing. I've seen people play it on like PSP, and I think that's even bad. Like it might be worse, maybe. But I started on the 3DS, then moved on into there were some on Switch, I believe,
Mm.
Monster Hunter Generations, but it wasn't really until World that I really got into it. Like I actually spent like a good chunk of time, like 60 plus hours. And for
Yeah.
me, I enjoy the main game.
Mhm.
Once we start getting into like the monsters like that can one shot you or two shot you, right? That's kind of where I drop it. Like the DLC, I don't really touch, but like the first 60 hours of Monster Hunter, I'm all about it. Like I'm all in, and I usually am a switch axe main, so that's what I use.
Mm.
I really like it because you can switch. It's like a bloodborne weapon, right? You have the axe, and then you switch into blade mode. You have this huge explosion thing, and when I'm feeling like I don't want to try that hard, I'll pick up the hammer. The hammer is just like just hit things in the head, like stun them, and then your teammates can go ham on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, So I've been playing Monster Hunter for a while, and I
Yeah.
really enjoy it. I really like it. So every time a new one drops, it's like getting used to the clunky controls again, right? The
Did you end
slow
up playing
movement.
Rise?
Yeah, I had that as well. And
Yeah.
I remember I was playing Rise during our grad program, Brandon, I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, I remember putting in time because we had like a whole comps exam, this huge exam. We got it done. I think that
Mhm.
whole week after that, I just played Monster Hunter Rise, I think, on the
Oh,
Switch.
hell yeah.
So yeah. I also play the spin-offs too, like Monster Hunter Stories, the RPG ones. Those are
Mm.
Yeah.
pretty fun
Yeah.
as
The
well.
Pokemon looking ass one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
basically.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Monster Hunter game where you like collect the monsters and you can fight them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yo, that's kind of sick.
Yeah.
I think I played a demo of that one and I was just like, "Oh, okay. This is fun. This is
Yeah.
fine."
If you like creature collecting RPGs, it seems
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um nice. You said something about an attachment on the 3DS analog? I don't remember that.
I think there was like an extra control pad that came with Kid Icarus on 3DS, and I think you could use that.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
Okay. I thought I bought Kid Icarus. I don't quite remember that, but you
because
could
Kid
be
Icarus
right.
came in a bigger box with an extra attachment to it.
What the fuck? Okay. Nice. Weird Nintendo stuff. Awesome. Yeah, yeah, you love to see it. Oh man, if we have enough time, there's some like Nintendo Switch to like hardware accessories that are leaking I wanted to talk about, but anyways. Brandon, what about you?
Uh,
Have you played since
yeah.
3DS or
So
maybe
I played Try for like a
okay.
bit, like a very
It was
short
on
period of
Wii.
time.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it was on the Wii.
Yeah.
And I think statute of limitations is up by now. I
Yeah.
had a hardware modded Wii. So I would just burn ISOs onto discs and play them on my Wii.
Yeah.
It was rad. Apparently, it was really easy to do the hardware mod. But I gave it to a person who knew how to do it, like $50. I could play
Oh
any game.
shit.
I tried Monster Hunter because I had always heard, oh, you want to fight a bunch of monsters, do it. I couldn't get into it, and I
Uh
think they really hit a great formula with World.
mhm.
And they're kind of going back to that formula. Rise was a little bit of a break from it, but it still kind of held it. I'll get into that specifics, but
Yeah.
World really, really drew me in. It streamlined a lot of stuff that most players really didn't want to do. There's a lot of like in Try, there was a lot of like gathering and collecting before you do the hunts. It was like, oh, you got to prepare for the hunts, so you got to get like all the herbs and stuff and make your potions and craft all that stuff. And there's some people who might really enjoy that. It
Mhm.
kind of threw me off of the game because I wasn't really in for that. In World, they introduced this like garden system so that you can just grow your stuff passively. Every time you finish a hunt, you get more of the stuff and you can auto craft it. It makes it so much easier.
Mm.
um they yeah, they streamlined just a whole bunch of stuff. And the combat system in World was really, really fun. The addition of the grappling claw, and then later with Iceborne, of being able to like grapple directly onto the monster, super yeah,
Super useful.
just
Yeah.
a joy to play. The variety of weapons is something that I think people talk about with Monster Hunter, but it's
Uh-huh.
really crazy how different the play styles for the different weapons are.
Yeah.
If you want to get like a bunch of really small, tiny hits in, there's like 3 different weapons for that. If you want to do medium, a lot of different weapons for that, and then big, chunky, meaty hits, but you only get like 1 or 2. Range combats in there,
Mm-hmm.
mid-range combats in there, aerial combats in there if you want to be an insect glaive enjoyer.
Yeah.
They really hit the whole gambit. And one thing that I appreciated a lot about World, you were talking about the hammer. There's this play style that me and my friends would do with the hammer, where in World, if there was the tiniest slope, the tiniest little slope, you can
Hmm.
get your character to slide, you jump, and then you do this spin through the air.
Oh
And
shit.
each hit with the spin hits the monster again, and then when you hit the ground, it does a big hit.
Yeah.
Very fun. And they brought that back for Rise, so we did a couple of hunts where we all ran
Ooh.
hammer and just found the small edge, just brought the monster to it, and just slammed down on him.
Ooh.
Variety of play style, super
Yeah.
super important for a game like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like for World, there were a couple of fights where, like, especially if I was like playing with like newer players, there's a build that you can do where you can heal other people. You can actually be the white mage of the party,
Hmm.
where you drink a healing potion, everybody around you gets healed, and then you can have another perk that makes it so when you drink a healing potion, it has a chance to not get consumed. And so you
Oh,
can just be
sick.
like, all right, man, I'll help out a little bit, but you just focus on like the game. Don't worry about healing. I got you, and I'll help you learn, which is
Mm.
also, a great thing for beginners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially, my overgeared ass trying to not one shot the introductory monster.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
You love
yeah.
to hear it. That is really cool. I didn't know about the like the healer-ish potential class. I'm guessing it wasn't a class, but it was just like
It's
a
not really a class. It's a build
It
that you
depends
can
on your
do.
gear,
Yeah, it's a
right?
gear. It's a
mm,
gear
Yeah.
build. You can actually do it with any weapon. It's easiest to do with the sword and shield, because with the sword and shield you can use items without putting your weapon away, which
oh
makes it easier. Every other weapon you have to like sheath them.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but you could use. I mean, you could do it with any weapon. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I did have some questions about that, like how the builds kind of work, because I noticed there wasn't like a there wasn't like a level up system or a talent tree. I know that
Yeah.
all of that is consolidated into the equipment, and that's kind of
Mhm.
where the gameplay loop comes in, or the
Yeah.
compulsion
You want to
loop.
take that one, Joe?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with that loop, I mean, really, I'm gonna simplify it. You see monster, you kill it. You take its
Mm.
pieces, make armor or weapons, right? And so what's really cool is that each armor has it's distinct, right? Each monster you hunt. I
hmm.
know in World there were some complaints that the weapons were a little boring compared to like old Monster Hunter, right? Where you could have
Yeah.
like a giant crab, like arm hammer type thing, right?
Yeah. Or like a giant
Um,
fish sword. Yeah.
yeah,
Whoa.
they
Yeah.
would get really silly with them, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
They
I'm
did
kind of
bring
hoping
some
they
of those
bring that in
back in
ones.
Iceborne, but
They
yeah.
did,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's the loop. You go out hunt, you get the pieces, the armor, and then you make better stuff, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then there, I think it's transmog, right? Transmog,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
like the
Transmogrified.
For
armor
like
that you
layered
Yeah.
wear. Like if
armor.
you really like it,
Yeah.
yeah,
If you like the
you can
look of
still
something,
up
you can
like
keep that
where,
look. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm. Hmm.
yeah. So I mean, it's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
it's a very simple loop, but the way that you get the way that you defeat the monsters, right? I think it's more about like the journey, right, and the
Mhm.
destination in a way. But also the destination is really cool because I mean, you get cool shit. Like you look
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool,
And
right?
the monsters
You
get
feel
cooler and
cool.
cooler. I remember in Rise the first
Yeah.
time. Oh man, I forget the guy's name right now, but it's this dude that's got like jet engines on his wings,
Oh my
and he's
god.
got this
Oh
attack where he
yes.
like flies up into the air, and he just looks like a meteor crashing down.
Yo.
Really, like there's some really sick
General Radon
fights.
ass Monster Hunter fight.
Like literally, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That's kind of
and
sick.
to kind of piggyback on that, with the like additional stats that you get from the gear,
Mhm.
each gear piece also has like skills associated with it. So like that
Okay.
wide range thing that I was talking about, it's a specific like armor that or like chest piece maybe that you'd equip. And then with that chest piece, you can, when you drink a potion, heal everybody around you.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
I know they're changing it a little bit with the new one. We don't know exactly how this is going to work, but in World, for instance, some armor would have empty slots, and you could put skills into those slots. And depending on if they were a slot 1, 2, or 3, it would depend on how powerful of a skill you could put in there. Um,
Okay.
you could put a 1 into a 3, but you couldn't put a 3 into a 1. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I get you.
and like if you rock a lance, right, and you want your shield to do less chip damage to you, then you would get guard up, and you would have a stronger shield. So
Mm.
not only is the actual weapon getting better with its defense, with its attack, but you're also getting a skill to also make it better.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. I like that the skills are kind of hidden in, or not hidden, but they're incorporated into the equipment. So it's like it's the
Mhm.
equipment that will determine the build. I feel like that's kind of unique-ish for, I mean, some RPG games, but just like I don't know. I'm
Most are
playing.
gonna have a level up scheme of some
Yeah.
kind, but like your health is your health. The only way to up your health is through items or eating before you go out on a hunt.
Got it.
And it's weird how important like eating is in that game before every hunt, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a
I
different
was
story.
gonna ask about that,
Yeah.
the the preparation part of the game, because I feel like from I didn't have a good sense of it in the demo because I didn't know what I was doing. But like, how important really is like the preparation for Monster Hunter? I know that it is. It seems like it is pretty integral to like I don't know, doing the prep for a very specific monster, if it's weak to ice, for example, or weak to something or other, just like, and you want to prepare accordingly to that. Do you feel like the preparation is kind of vital for that monster hunt? Maybe not so much at the beginning, but maybe in the later stages. And like, what does that
Um,
preparation really look like?
Yeah, I'll touch on the elemental stuff. Not all builds are elemental. You can have a weapon that just it does raw damage and it focuses on the raw damage. It might have like a little bit of element on it, but it doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
You're mainly focusing on the raw damage. Like for instance, greatsword. When you're running greatsword, you don't care about element. You care about
Yeah.
the big hit. But if you're running dual blades, that weapon is very heavy element. Bow is really heavy element. So those
Oh.
weapons, if you want to rock those, you will need to look into what that monster is weak to. But like there are weapon types where if you want to ignore that system, you can. And even with dual
Mhm.
blades, you could just run a raw damage dual blade build for every single monster and be fine. You
Mm.
might take another 3 minutes to kill the guy, and you might take 4, but like it'll be the same effect.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Joe, you want to touch on like the inventory stuff that goes along with Monster Hunter?
Yeah. So with the inventory, like the items, like I'm thinking about the null berry, right? That
Mhm.
Mhm.
nullifies like dragon blight. There's different statuses as well. So you want to make sure that you take certain items with you that can cure that. But you also don't want to pack up your inventory too much because then you're scrolling too much, right? Trying to get the
Mhm.
right item as you're getting
Mm.
chased, getting destroyed by the monster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
where did I put my
preparation is
hot drink?
very
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like preparation is key. Like you have
Yeah.
to know what you're fighting. I would say at first, the beginning of the game, it's not too important, right? Because the game's trying to introduce you, right? So you have
Mhm.
like basic
There's not
level
many.
monsters. They're not gonna
Yeah.
cause you
Mm.
much grief.
Like maybe
But
an antidote
once
for
they
a
start,
poison, but like
yeah,
that's about it. Yeah.
right,
Mm.
And
yeah.
there's
But
also
then you're
better
dealing with
versions of these items
burn.
you get access to later too. Like eventually you get
Mhm,
access to a form of an antidote which will heal the poison, and it will also heal you for all of the health
Huh.
that the poison ticked on you if you do it quick enough. Um,
right.
Okay.
yeah. So like there is also like a progression in items, and there's certain items that you'll just keep in your backpack, and just because they're there, it takes up a slot, but it will give you like 10 attack or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of like a,
Yeah.
but it's not part of your equipment. It's like
It's just in your backpack. Yeah, you can't select it. You can't do anything with it. It takes up
sure.
an inventory slot, which is a big deal because it can get limited. Especially
Mm.
if you're running like if you're running like a bow gun, either light bow gun or heavy bow
Yeah.
gun. A lot of times you'll be crafting ammo mid mission. So you
Yeah.
have all the stuff to craft the ammo in your backpack, and it gets very full very fast.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But there's
That's sick.
hotkeys too. You can set up for all of this stuff that I'm talking about.
Mm.
You can set up hotkeys to craft within like 2 keystrokes.
It kind of seemed like there was an autocraft system also in Monster
There is also.
Hunter, Wilds. Yeah. I guess before we we're already diving deep into it. Um how would you summarize like some of the changes between Worlds and Wilds? Because I mean, obviously it's a new game, it's a different game, and they had to do something to make it feel different. And does it feel better than playing Monster Hunter Worlds? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the main system they changed was there's now like focus mode. So as you hit the monster, it will develop weak spots. And each weapon has a special attack that if it hits a weak spot, it will
Mhm.
do a very you almost like universally flashy, very cool looking attack, but
Yeah.
also one that will do a lot of damage and then consume the weak spot.
Okay.
Um, Depending on which weapon it is, it can look really, really sick. I know like the dual blades one is you hit the weak spot and then you roll down the whole back of the monster,
Ooh.
which is it looks so cool. You do a bunch of little hits as you're rolling down the back with each time the blade connects.
Yeah.
Very neat. And the longer the monster, the more effective that attack is too.
Oh
Um,
shit. Okay.
yeah,
That's really
yeah.
cool. Are dual blades your main then? I feel like you're talking
No,
about it
great
a lot.
sword, great
Great
sword.
sword.
No,
Okay.
it's just it's a good contrast to talk about like 'cause as a great sword man, I just want to hit the guy.
Yeah.
Great sword's all about there's like this 3-hit combo with the great sword.
Hmm.
And in order to like hold your ground, you can do this little shoulder check. And if you shoulder check when the monster hits you, you take a little bit of chip damage, but you get to keep charging and then hopefully get the rebuttal.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
yeah.
That
Uh,
that's pretty
but
sick.
also with the great sword, great change. You used to be kind of locked into the direction you were looking at. You could move a little bit left and right. Now
Hmm.
you have full 360. You can just go into focus mode and then turn around if you need to, which
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
sound like a big deal, but it's huge.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like when you're trying to manage either like multiple monsters attacking you while you're doing the main monster hunt, or if like the monster quickly or it can move quickly and then you see it run
Mhm.
around to the side, I could see how that could be advantageous to
Oh yeah.
actually being able to change your what is it called? Not the focus, because that's something else.
The
I guess the
point of view,
view or
or not the
yeah,
the
camera
camera,
ish.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, your character's which way your character's facing, and then they also
Ah,
had the dog, right? There's
In
you yeah.
Rise.
Oh, is the dog from Rise? Yeah, yeah, I guess it
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
and then wait, was
Um,
Rise after or before Worlds?
after.
yeah.
After. Okay, so it goes Worlds, Rise, and now Wilds.
Hmm.
Rise went back to maybe like the OG formula of like maybe the the older ones like PS2 on PS2.
Okay.
That also could have been because Switch hardware.
I think it was.
Uh,
Yeah. The maps
Yeah.
were while the maps were big, they weren't very interesting. It was kind of a bunch of like flat open arenas the whole time.
Yeah.
World had a lot of like destructible environments and
mhm.
like I'm talking the tiny little ledge. It just needs to be like that big.
Yeah.
Whereas yeah, Rise didn't have that, but Rise had vertical mobility with the wire bug, which they got rid of. I'm
Mhm.
kind of glad because the wire bug was a little bit. It made a couple fights a little too easy, in my opinion. If
Oh.
you abused it, um,
Yeah, it's like an eject button. It'll get you out real
yeah,
quick.
it just
Yeah.
yeah, you're getting hit. I
Oh.
want to leave. Yeah, you hit the wire bug, you're out. Now they still have an eject button. When you're on the ground, you can hit a button and the dog will come and pick you up. And it's
Yeah.
similar, but it takes a little bit more time. It's a bit more vulnerable.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And
but yeah,
then
the go ahead.
or I was gonna say, and then on that note, it's what is it called in this game? Secret? Secret?
Secret? Yeah.
Secret?
The chocobo, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you get your
Yeah.
chocobo. Do you feel like there's been some improvements there with like having that companion? Well, I guess it is a companion in a way. Oh, wait, it doesn't fight, right? The
You
secret?
do have a fighting companion, but that's a
Yeah,
different
you
thing.
have the
The
uh
cat.
yeah.
Yeah.
What are they called
Palico.
again? Palco. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like, because this is like my first foray that I could remember into the Monster Hunter uh I was gonna say world, but that's a different game too. They've
Um,
taken all the adjectives. I can't like think. Um into a Monster Hunter game. The secret was, sometimes I felt like I was fighting it a bit, but maybe it's actually an improvement over like the previous traversal mechanics. Like, do you feel like it's helping you out a lot, or like streamlining the gameplay more? Okay,
mhm.
That's good to know.
I like
Yeah,
the
I mean,
movement options for
mhm,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's really good movement, and then also when you're like monsters will frequently like leave one area of the map and go to a different one. While
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
happening, it's a great time to sharpen your weapon,
Yeah.
to craft items, to re-up your buffs, and you don't have to stop moving anymore for that. In
Mm,
World, you had to like, okay, stop, drink a couple, sharpen, all right, and then you move on. Now it's just you hit a button, it auto goes there, and you can do all that stuff in your menus while that's happening.
okay. That's sick. Yeah, I do like that. Does sound like a quality of life improvement to not have to, or not have to worry about chasing the monster. You just have the thing go for you.
Yeah,
And
that was a thing in some of the earlier games. You used to
uh-huh.
have to put paint on the monster. You used to have
Yeah.
to throw paint onto it. Otherwise, it
To
would leave
track
and you
them.
wouldn't know where it goes. You
Wait.
just have to
Mhm.
guess.
Oh, was
Yeah.
that in the 3DS one? I kind of remember that.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
Oh
was.
shit.
Yeah.
Whoa. Damn, you just unlocked a memory for me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did play it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe I did just repress it. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Um, nice, nice. Do you overall does it feel better so far to you guys to play this one than like any of the other ones? Any other previous
Performance is a
ones?
bit rough though.
Oh. Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah. Yeah. At
Okay.
least for a lot of my friends. I haven't experienced it quite
Mhm.
as much.
Yeah, I didn't
And
experience much there.
that's good.
Mhm.
But I have a buddy of mine who me and him went through all of Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, beat the final boss Fatalis, which is supposed to be like just the hardest thing in that game.
He is the
Um,
monster.
yeah, exactly. Pretty much whenever a game ends, I don't know if they do it for Rise and Sunbreak? Did they put Fatalis in that?
I
Um,
think they did, but I never bought the DLC,
yeah,
so
yeah, I never did that.
Mm.
Anyway, he when they're done with the game, a lot of times they'll put Fatalis in as like just the final boss. Really difficult. You have to master the mechanics. The timer is always really tight. Very little room for error. And yeah, me and him did all that, and then he played the beta, and he just like 15 frames a second less sometimes. Just
Oh,
couldn't play with everything off on minimum, whatever he could. And
dang.
he doesn't have that bad of a computer. I mean, I think obviously he needs to upgrade, but it's like
Yeah.
it plays other games fine. I know that there were some other people talking about performance stuff and like some weird visual glitches and bugs that would happen.
yeah, I saw that online, the like, it would take, like,
Yeah.
some time for it to load in with, like, a
Mhm.
Nintendo 64 type of thing, polygon thing going
Yeah,
on.
you'd see
Oh.
like the individual polygons of somebody's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, I've heard because I also didn't have any performance issues. I was playing it on PC, but I also have like a beefy PC right now. So I that's probably why. But I did hear complaints. I didn't see anything, but I've heard complaints of people saying that yeah, they had some performance issues, some like fatal crashes and whatnot.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then I think it was them like Capcom that is like not known for optimize like they're known for not optimizing their PC ports well.
The Worlds launch was abysmal.
Oh,
Um, on launch, when Worlds hit, you couldn't get into a lobby. You had to wait like 4 or 5 days because,
damn.
granted, it was their first time ever releasing a PC port, like right when they were releasing the game,
Yeah.
and they didn't understand that there's a market for PC, so they did not have enough server capacity to handle it. They eventually figured it out. It took like 4 days before you could like regularly get a lobby, but not 100% of the time, and then like a week until it was like reliable. Um,
Jesus. Okay.
yeah, I think that's what this weekend was in a way. It was like a network test. That's why it was an
Mm,
open beta.
that
Um,
makes sense. That makes a lot
yeah,
of sense. Uh-huh. Um,
uh,
there's another network test. I hope we have some time to chat about a little bit. I don't know if you ended up playing it, but the Elden Ring Nightreign test. Um,
mm,
anyways, okay, that's cool. So it sounds like overall, this game it feels like they've made some quality of life improvements. It feels better to play. Um, are there? Let's see. I'm like trying to think of some other specific questions. I did have one regarding the equipment and like that progression there. Are there like certain tiers to the equipment? So I know you mentioned that the equipment will have like the different talents or like passive abilities or whatnot. But is there still just like yeah, I guess maybe not a not a obvious tier system, like it doesn't just say tier 2 or tier 3 or whatever on there, but just
It does.
it does. It does.
Like +1,
Okay.
+2.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
nice.
It's so like let's say that you make a bone sword, right?
Mhm.
That's like the tier 1. Pretty much every game is like the bone weapon and then the iron weapon. That's the start of the tree. And then it's an
Yeah.
equipment tree. So then you have to kill monster A to get the next sword in that tree. And then eventually you go and you kill a couple more monsters, you unlock monster like D. And that monster D has the parts to make the next sword in that tree. And it also branches. So maybe after you make the second tier of the sword, now you can make 1, 2, or 3 of that weapon, and it branches further. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Not with armor though, right? Right, Joe? It's armor's
I
just
don't think so. Yeah.
yeah, armor. You
You
just
use
make
armor spheres to like make it stronger. I think, right? I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not branching out like the weapons. Okay.
No, armor is just the pieces of the monster, whereas weapons can be like 2 different monsters, or like
Hmm.
some monster stuff, and then some stuff you find on the map, stuff like that.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like there are so many mechanics of this game that like speak to me and make me really want to play it. I feel like I am eventually going to get it. I don't know about at launch, but yeah, I the desire is there. This game uses pretty much every video game uses a compulsion loop, that it's going to reward you for doing something in game, and then that creates a dopamine hit that's going to make you want to keep on playing the game and like get that hit again. But the one in games like these, like this hunting game, or even stuff like Balatro where number go up and you get the whatchamacallit, yeah, the dopamine hit. At least with Monster Hunter, it feels very blatant. Like there's this blatant loop of like hunt the monster, kill the monster, get the gear, equipment number go up, go hunt bigger monster to keep on getting that thing, getting that bigger number and chasing the bigger monster, and feeling good while doing it. Is there any point in which you've hit a Monster Hunter game, it sounds like not, where you're like, okay, I'm done with this? It sounds like you might like just go all the way to the end and chase the highest number, and then you're like, okay, I'm good. Is that the case? Do you find that you are always going, either of you are like just your desire to play will like push you through to constantly hunt the bigger, badder monster, or is there a certain point where you're like, nah, I'm good, I don't need to chase that bigger thing, I could stop playing now and feel satisfied?
Joe, why don't you go?
I think for me, because I mostly play these in single player, right? So I make sure to get to the end of the game, right? Beat the final boss, maybe do a little bit of extra quests. But then I feel satisfied because it's like got the main quest done, right? But with multiplayer, it's a different story because now you're hunting with friends, right? It's
Yeah.
more of like a community type thing. Like you're gonna go beat the shit out of this monster, and that's fun, right? So that'll give you more
I love that
playtime
Nick's
for
gonna
sure.
give it to you moments before
Yeah.
you and your homies
Yeah.
are just beating this poor helpless Jagras. Just like, no, he's already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
God, please,
Yeah.
no, he's already dead. Okay. Is
Yeah.
it the
But
same
that
for you?
being said, like
Uh-huh.
you can play the game and drop it at any time, of course, right? But it really is like about the hunt, right? Like getting stronger, seeing yourself progress, right? I don't think anyone's gonna say like the Monster Hunter story is what brings me in, like the narrative, right?
Mhm.
No one's gonna
Mhm.
say that. If they do,
Yeah.
they're lying to you.
Yeah.
It's about the hunt.
Yeah. No, oh God.
Is
Yeah, the world story was yeah, it really depends on I think that's right. It depends on how much you and your friends want to have fun with it, and as long as you're having fun with it, you'll want to keep going. One of the cool
Hmm.
things that they did with World that they've already announced the first monster they're adding for free to
Yeah,
the
they have like a
game.
roadmap.
Yeah, they have a roadmap. They
Mm.
always add more monsters and more content over the course of the game's life. And here's how this game's gonna work, because it's worked this way with every Monster Hunter. They do a bunch of stuff up until a certain point, and then they will release a like an X version of the game, or
Oh.
ultimate version of the game. So with World, it was Iceborne. With Rise, it was Sunbreak. With this game, it'll be another noun. Uh,
Yeah.
and then it'll be like a soft reset where so base game it goes normal rank and then high rank, and then that will be master rank monsters. And then you'll go through all of master rank with new monsters, basically
Mhm.
double the amount of content. You get to keep your same progression in a lot of ways because there is stuff that isn't like just gear that does matter in terms of progression. In terms of like the gems that you can get that you can slot anywhere.
Mhm.
Um, and then you keep going, and as long as you're having fun, you're having fun. Me and my
Nice.
friends had a lot of fun. Like I said, we beat Fatalis, which was a big achievement. Kind of bashed our heads against the wall for a little bit. It in a way, it feels like fighting a boss in a Souls game.
Yeah.
Like sometimes co-op in Souls games can feel a little cheesy. It can feel a little too easy sometimes.
Yeah.
Doesn't in Monster Hunter. Just
Right.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the monsters do also scale health
Right.
with the amount of people that you have. So just because you have an extra dude doesn't mean that you're gonna fight it
It's gonna be
easier.
easier.
Yeah,
Right, right. So I mean, it sounds like you, Brandon, are mostly playing this online multiplayer with your
pretty much
friends
exclusively. Yeah, solo
exclusively.
hunting's all right.
Yeah,
But it's pretty much always with people. Yeah,
totally, totally.
yeah.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Like, I was gonna ask if there's an ideal sort of party composition with the weapons. No. Okay,
No.
so each of
It's
them
nice if somebody wants to play hunting horn, but that's about it.
does hunting
Right.
horn
Yeah.
buff
Yeah,
people? Is
Gives
that
you
yeah,
buffs.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It buffs the
Okay.
whole party.
Mhm.
And hunting horn has the ability to give you the most damage in the game because later on you'll get a attack up buff that is just 20% more damage.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
That sounds like a big
If you find
number.
yourself a hunter horn main, keep them around.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're your friend now.
I
Yeah.
always play support classes in games,
Oh, there
so
you go.
maybe
Dude on the horn. Yeah, let's
yeah.
play that smooth jazz.
All
One of the
right.
things I love about hunting horn too is there's a whole bunch of different horns, and they all have a different sound. Well, not all of them, but a lot of
Uh-huh.
them will have a different sound. So you have one that looks like a giant guitar and it'll play fucking rock music.
Oh my
Or you'll
god.
have one that looks like a big old saxophone and it'll play smooth jazz. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's
It
sick.
just all depends. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, that's the only one where it's like it's nice to have, but other than
Mhm.
that, like it is nice. It's nice to have somebody who does like blunt damage because if there's a guy that does blunt damage, you can target the head. It's nice to have a guy that does
Mm.
slash damage because usually monsters have a tail and you can cut off the
Mhm.
tail. That's something that we haven't talked about, Joe. How you can like break parts of the monster, and it
Yeah.
like dramatically changes the fight sometimes. Like
Whoa.
there's some monsters like let's say that they shoot an electricity beam out of their tail. If you
Uh-huh.
cut their tail off, they can't use that attack anymore.
Whoa.
Yeah. Or if they have like a tail swipe, now it's shorter range because their tail's not there.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
the
really cool.
hitbox
Mm-hmm.
gets short, right?
Yep.
You can still get hit by the nub, which is
Yeah.
weird.
It
It'll
feels so
happen.
bad. And it does the same
Yeah.
amount of damage. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. I love like not they're going a step further from destructible environment. It's destructible
Destructible
monster.
monster. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also you're incentivized to do it like specifically with the tail.
Yeah.
If you break the tail, you get an extra loot drop from the
Mhm.
monster. And it's more than likely gonna drop the tail, but it can drop
Sure.
other things too. When you break parts of the monster, sometimes little shiny parts will fall off of them and you'll pick those up and that'll be more loot drops. So you're really incentivized to like tactically beat the ever living shit out of all parts of a monster as opposed to just
Just
hitting
trying to
it in
kill
one
it.
spot. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um shoot, I had a question about the online thing.
Oh yeah, the online
Uh,
lobbies in the beta were really hard to manage sometimes.
They were
That was
weird.
one of my big complaints.
yeah, did you
Um,
play it online, Joe, at all?
mhm.
I know
Oh, it's done.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
I
I
know
Oh
did.
yeah,
I
Brandon
did
of
did.
course I
because the
did.
beta,
Too much question.
the beta, you didn't need any PS Plus or anything, right? So I hopped on with my brother, and then we just SOS people for the Arkfeld fight because there was no way I was gonna do it or he was gonna do the Arkfeld fight on his own. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I know that the monster scales with each player, but it sounds like if you have 4 players, it does still go maybe a bit faster or something. Because I don't know. I was fighting. It wasn't an Arkveld. I was fighting some other flying pterodactyl thing that has a poison shot to it. This is another thing that I really liked about the game was the fact that I just saw him flying and was like, you know what, fuck it. I want to see what happens if I try to attack it. And then I did, and it created a quest for me so that it could reward me for killing that monster after I engaged in it. So it was like, I didn't have a quest before, but as soon as I started fighting it, that quest popped, and then I got rewarded for killing it. But I was I was struggling. It was a skill issue with me, and there was about 15 minutes of me fighting it, and this fool wasn't going down, and I wasn't sure when he was going to die because there's no health bar, and that's another design choice that I like can respect, but sometimes I'm like, shit, I really want that bar.
There's definitely going to be a mod that comes out within like 4 weeks of the game being launched that it will have health bars.
Okay.
Same thing happened with World.
Who said that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, mods are bad, kids.
Yeah.
Don't do anything they don't want you to.
Shit.
But yeah, they don't like the mods if you're playing like online with random people because they don't want you to flame people. But if you're just using a mod like that for your own knowledge to know how well you're doing, I mainly use it for the DPS tracker to let me know if I'm like being a hindrance in the fight or if I'm helping out. You know?
Okay.
I don't really do that. I usually turn off the health bars personally. But it is nice to know like, oh hey, Buddy is doing like really like what is he doing? Like I maybe want to watch him for a sec because he's getting a lot more damage than I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So when you said flame other people, you meant like not talk shit about them for not doing enough damage or something.
Yeah, if you're playing with a bunch of random people online and you start like typing in chat like, yo bro, why is your damage 1% of the monster? You're gonna get fucking banned.
Yeah,
don't be an ass to people online.
That kind of elitism I would expect in an MMO or something for a like some high-end guild trying to push, but I don't see the need for it unless you're like trying to do. No, there's no need for it in this game.
There's no need.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
If you really want to get people who enjoy playing the game, there's multiple Discord servers that you can join to find groups of people looking for groups. You can bully your friends into it and try and make them be better. There's ways around it. Playing with random people, they're going to be random. It might be a literal 12-year-old that is just playing their first Monster Hunter game for the first time. It might be, a seasoned veteran. You have no way of knowing. And you shouldn't expect them to play it anyway.
Okay. There's no sort of skill-based matchmaking for that shit, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
If you have unlocked the monster, you can match with anybody.
Right. That's the skill test right there. If you're at that point of this game.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think you guys may have convinced me. We will see. There's cross-platform play, right? On this one as well?
I think so.
Oh, that just reminded me of the other question I had like 20 minutes ago, or like 10 minutes ago that I forgot, and I just remembered. Is there any sort of like say you guys are like hella high rank? It is crossplay? Okay. Hell yeah. Thank you for that like instant investigation.
Jamie, pull that up.
Is there
like that
the what?
That was a reference to the Joe Rogan podcast because I'll be like, Jamie, pull that up.
Oh shit.
Not that I particularly enjoy Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Continue on with what you were saying.
Let Jarvis do it. Jarvis pull it up.
Jarvis.
Jarvis. If I like got the game a week after you guys, or 2 weeks after, a month after, is there any sort of way for you to, when we play together, for you to not just absolutely destroy that monster? Is there some sort of what is it called, where they like rubber band you down to a certain range or something? No, so you would just
no.
Okay,
it's not a rubber band. I just equip a weapon that is shit.
That's it. Okay,
that's it.
So it's not.
We could just watch you and coach you.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, just two people screaming in your ear. No, hit him! Don't get hit.
So you're gonna.
Why are you running away?
You're gonna coward. His stats for 3 people, but still just leave it to me to take care of him. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. We could just like keep our same armor on, and then just have the starting whatever tier weapon you're on. We can just make one of those, and we'll have the resources by then because you just gotta get them. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can buy them as well once you build them up, right? Like you can just buy like an iron axe or something.
Maybe. I don't know about this game. We don't know what crafting looks like in this game yet. Yeah. Okay. I think in Rise that was true. In World that wasn't. You still had to go back. I remember having to go back in World to low rank monsters sometimes because I wanted a new build. I didn't have any low rank like whatever parts, and so I had to
Oh
go back to
man.
low rank. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, hopefully they solve that here because that sounds kind of a pain to grind it
It's
out,
not
but
well, it's not that big a deal because you go into a low rank mission with high
oh,
rank
right.
gear and you kill it in
You
like
just
2
yeah.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense.
You
Well,
bully it. Yeah.
yeah.
Cyberbullying. Yeah.
Cyberbullying. Hell yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm definitely intrigued. I'm now wondering if I should just wait for that ultimate form. I don't know, because I get caught up in the zeitgeist and like everyone's gonna be playing it and posting about it and talking about it. I'm like, fuck, I want to join y'all and like be a part of this right now. So maybe I will end up just buying it.
The ultimate won't come out for
Like,
2 years.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it'll be
Yeah,
a while.
it'll be a sec.
I'm not.
There's gonna be like a year and a half of free updates, and then they'll stop for a bit while they're like polishing up the big expansion. Then the
Yeah.
big expansion will come out. There will be one new mechanic, usually one new move for each weapon, and a whole bunch of new monsters.
Okay, cool. I
Yeah.
dig the new move for each weapon because I was playing bow and I felt like I don't know, I started getting a little bored of what I was doing, like just the combo there. So
There's probably
maybe
more
it
combos that you might not
should
have
I
known about too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely a
Gotta pull up a
possibility.
YouTube video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, right,
There's
right. You
one thing
mentioned
about
that.
Monster Hunter is
Mhm.
that there are some amazing guides. At least for World, there was. I know Monster Hunter math guys aren't doing their thing anymore. But there's been some pretty amazing guides for that game. Look up like weapon combos and like optimal ways to like initiate things like with charge blade, for instance. Pretty technical
Mm,
weapon. You can simplify it if you know what you're doing, but knowing the right way to go about it was going to help a lot. Yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch a guide because
Yeah.
it felt like I was just doing some boring, bland ass combo that was like dealing damage, but I don't know. It felt like it could have been a bit more interactive. I was also playing online as well with 4 people who were all of them were like a melee build, so they were all like up in his face. He never attacked me, so I felt like I was literally just like sitting on a cliff, just poking shots at him.
To be fair, that is
Yeah.
also a weapon choice thing.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
figured too. I was like, maybe it's just the bow that's not for me because I usually like the ranged. It's either ranged or support. Like, I guess I wasn't treating this as a composition like a different sort of team comp or team role type thing. I was just like, everyone's gonna do damage. So what do I usually play when I do damage? I like ranged. Let me go with the
Mhm.
bow. But it sounds like the hunting horn might be a bit more my speed, to be honest, if I'm going to be playing online. So I'll look into that whenever I end up playing it again. Um, awesome, y'all. Well, I think shit, dog. We're coming up on 50
Yeah.
minutes. So, is there any last words about Monster Hunter Wilds that y'all wanted to say, or you feel like you got them all out?
Play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, one of the best single player RPGs I've played in 10 years.
God damn.
It's
I
really, really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
or like, I was gonna save the
Yeah. No, that's my comment. That's
okay.
it.
That's you were calling a bit about Monster Hunter
Yeah.
Wilds. Play
Yeah.
Kingdom Come
I
Deliverance.
hope to beat
Yeah.
it before Monster Hunter Wilds comes out
Okay.
because I'm like 60 hours in and I don't know when the end is coming. Like I still have so much
Shit.
left to do.
It's like a 70 plus or something. But yeah, I don't know. That's I
I mean,
guess
I'm
that's
doing
if you're
everything. I'm doing all
mainlining
the
it.
side quests.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
shit. So that was gonna be like my one more thing was that I ended up buying Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but then that same evening I bought the $25 to play Avowed early. And I'm not gonna lie, I
Oops.
really fucking like that game.
Oh,
I
you do?
love
Okay.
Avowed so much.
A buddy of
Like,
mine had a different opinion. I haven't played it yet,
really?
so I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah, I'm going off of one person's opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is absolutely
Is it good?
scratching the fantasy
Nice.
RPG itch for me. And I was not prepared to be like compelled by the writing, where it feels like a lot of the dialogue choices kind of has an impact on the quest. And this was made by Obsidian. So it's like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, of course the writing and world building is going to be good there. But yeah, I think it doesn't want to be like super in depth like a Baldur's Gate in terms of like the RPG mechanics or like the different types of builds and whatnot. But there are still talents. There's still these different weapons. There's crafting. There's upgrading. There's leveling up, and it's all at a certain level of depth that is been pleasing to me without being overwhelming, and I think because of that I'm really enjoying it. And the combat feels great to me. I'm playing like you could switch between two builds, and like you could have a magic, like a wand and a grimoire to cast spells, and you could quickly switch to a sword and shield if you wanted to get some close damage. And you don't have to really spec into either of them. You could still enjoy playing either of those, like melee or ranged or magic. So yeah, I've been having a great time with it. I am still very curious about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I feel like as soon as there's some sort of sale, I'm gonna get it, but I know it's been selling well, so I don't think they're gonna be putting it on sale anytime soon.
No, not soon.
So,
There is going to be DLC coming, so you can always just wait till the DLC drops as well.
oh,
They have already announced the first DLC for that game. I know the first one got like 2 or 3 DLCs, something like that.
Okay.
So I know, like, that's what I'm doing. A game that I really enjoyed, Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader,
Yeah.
has a
Oh.
second DLC coming. And so I'm waiting for my replay of that game until the second DLC comes out. Yeah, anyway.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like that
Patient
idea.
gaming is good gaming.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is, but yeah. But like I said, I always get caught up on whatever's hot in the moment, so then it ends up
Mhm.
fucking me over sometimes. And then, yeah. But yeah, so that's what I've been up playing and enjoying. Joe, what about you? Is there any other game, or maybe it doesn't have to be a game? You could plug something else if you want.
No, I mean, I'm just playing some Street Fighter, practicing combos like I mentioned. There's the Fatal Fury beta coming out this weekend.
Oh
I think
yeah, I saw
tomorrow.
that. I was
Yeah,
like, I was thinking
so
of
if you want to
your
give that a shot.
fantasy critic.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah.
yeah. So the beta comes out tomorrow. It's up for 4 days. I have Street Fighter League coming up on Saturday, so that'll be fun.
Oh
But yeah,
right.
I haven't been playing much.
Hell yeah. Okay. That I mean, that it sounds like you've been busy with work, plus like you've been well, I feel like you've been enjoying this time before Yakuza comes out, or Like a Dragon comes out on Friday, and then before Monster Hunter comes out next week. So yeah, I could see
Yeah,
why.
we had a lot of betas recently. Monster
Mm-hmm.
Hunter, Elden Ring,
Mm-hmm.
the demo for
February is
Yakuza,
always
like
a
you
great
mentioned.
month for games, and there's always a drought.
Yeah.
For like starting in like late March, early April.
Okay.
So
I'll be
time for
able
the
to get
backlog
in.
is soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you play the Elden Ring Nightreign beta at all? I think it was on PS5. I think it was on consoles only. Did you play it, Brandon?
No, I still haven't played the first DLC for Elden Ring. I beat Elden Ring on launch,
Uh-huh.
and weirdly enough, like, I don't really have a desire to go back because I would either have to start again or New Game Plus it. Um
Yeah.
and neither of those options particularly feel amazing because the game, it's just so big. And
Yeah.
I explored all of it, so I'm gonna just see all the shit that I already saw. I know I could just go straight to the DLC door, but I'm like, maybe when I forget about it some more,
Yeah,
you know?
sure. I get you.
Maybe on Switch too, we'll do another run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. When Elden Ring Nightreign drops on Switch too.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we Joe and I played it, and we we also played it with Joe's brother, and it was pretty fun. Had a good time with it. I think there are a little bit of stuff that I hope is either adjusted or worked out, because it's launching on May 30th. So I doubt they're going to make any sort of like major gameplay overhauls. But there's some stuff with the equipment and like the loot system for me that I would like to be a bit more apparent. But I wasn't expecting to feel like Fortnite as much as it did, which was also
What?
really crazy. Did you see any gameplay, Brandon? You fucking drop in. You drop into a spot in Limgrave, and then there's a raining destruction fire circle that is constantly closing in on specific locations. So you have to like fight your way to that location. At the end of there's 3 in-game days. At the end of one day, which is like where the circle closes in on, a boss spawns. That boss can be from most likely from Elden Ring, but it could be from a previous Souls game.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, you could fight like
Yeah.
Father Gascon?
I don't know.
Like, that's
I don't know if there's any
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne.
Not
Yeah.
Bloodborne.
Yeah,
Not
I don't know if there's any
Bloodborne. Sorry.
Okay, not Bloodborne. Yeah.
I didn't mean to get your
Yeah.
hopes up there.
Yeah,
There's
fucking
there was a
fight
boss from
Sekiro.
I think Demon Souls actually that like
Oh, wow.
appears, or I saw in the trailer. So that's kind of insane. But yeah. So they're incorporating some previous Souls games bosses into it. And then while you're exploring on the field, you'll occasionally run into a field boss, which will be just like the tree sentinel, or the one of the dragons from that's also in Limgrave when you first pop out. But for all intents and purposes, it's like the same map. That's parts of it have been cut off to keep you isolated onto that Limgrave section. You could also like level up at a bonfire, or it's not a bonfire. What is it called again? I'm blanking right now.
Grace.
Grace, Site of Grace. Thank you.
It's a bonfire.
Yeah, it's a bonfire. It's a bonfire.
Always been a bonfire.
Yeah, it will always be a bonfire.
Yeah. So it had some like it really feels just like Elden Ring meets Fortnite with like a boss at the end of every night. So you were talking about earlier how when you play Elden Ring cooperatively, it almost feels lopsided in favor of the players because it wasn't made for that. Well, this one was made for 3 people to be going at a boss, and yeah, so it's been balanced for that, and it does feel a bit. I thought it felt a bit more accomplishing to like take down one of the bosses, like in this instance, rather than summoning 3 people just like in normal Elden Ring. So I think it's only going to be $40. It's coming out the end of May, so there's still some time, and yeah, I feel like I'll probably end up getting it, but it was really interesting. Yeah, had a crazy time with it. Sorry, I kind of spoke on behalf of both of us there, Joe. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
I mean, no, I think you explained it really well. With the beta, it was a network test. I know those times are strange, like 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. But I'm sure that's the Japanese time, it's regular time for them all. It's like, we got to get up at 3 a.m. I think what I really appreciated was that this was a cooperative experience. Like you can go at it alone for sure, but you have to be super skilled. I enjoy that it's faster paced. So even the movement, right? Like when you're running, you're not even taking fall damage when you're like jumping off like mountains and stuff. Just lets you do what you want in a way of like traverse here, go there. You plan routes out, hit up a church, get an extra flask charge, get some better items. The bosses are cool. And then you have like ultimate attacks too. So you have like it's weird. It's like how do I explain? It's an ultimate attack. So like the Wilder class, which is like the basic kind of warrior class, he has like a bazooka type thing, like a big blast.
Is this like a roguelite in Elden Ring?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a roguelike Elden Ring Fortnite. It's crazy. Because you have gear that you get for the run, but then after the end of the run, you get like these artifacts that can boost certain stats and permanently. But then you can only have so many equipped. As like there's
loadouts. Okay. It's a roguelite.
And then like you can be like the magician, and like you can use a hammer if you want. And you have no like.
There's no restriction
like,
really.
You can do that. Yeah, there's no restrictions at all.
And which is another thing I hope they do, is because I was playing the magic class and that shit felt so underpowered for me, but I also didn't 100% know what I was doing there, because like
that class has some sauce to it. You have to study up on it.
Absolutely, because I was just blowing through magic, and there's few, other than resting at a site of grace, there's like few ways to recover that MP or that FP. So anyways, cool. So I'm sure there's gonna be another beta. Hopefully it's a more open next time, but still had a great time with it. Shit, it's coming up, we're about to hit an hour. I'm like, do we talk about the news? There was just the Marvel Rival layoffs that were like startling. Niantic,
there's a lot of misinformation going around about those. Some pretty popular people were saying that it was the lead developer or the director.
It was not.
It was an American branch of that. It sucks they got laid off, don't get me wrong. Especially with how successful the game is.
It was a level design team.
It was an American level design team. Which like not great, but that sucks, especially with them releasing new heroes right now, and like I said, how well the game's been doing. It's still maintaining its player base, which is really good.
I wonder what that big number is that they're pulling in every week or month or whatever. What does the revenue look like? It must be ridiculous right now. But I was just like you said, there was some misinformation regarding it. It was a director, but not like the director. So I'm still just astonished that there's even a layoff to begin with. Like that's crazy, because you feel like this game is a universally like what is it called? Not acceptable, better than acceptable. It's just been acclaimed. Like everyone's playing it and loving it. So I'm surprised to see that there was a layoff for a game that everyone loves. But yeah,
it still has the number 2 spot on Steam right now.
that's fucking crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if that doesn't protect you, yeah, they wanted to streamline things, but man, or make not processes, but the teams more efficient and lean.
It's a company trying to, okay, we made the game, we need less people now because we just need a couple updates, we're gonna save money and fuck over the guy that actually made the product. Because I'm the CEO and I need more
I need more money.
Ferraris. I only have 3.
And hit
These
cartwheel.
more Robux and V-Bucks, right?
Yeah, true.
Needs the Robux for his kids.
Yeah.
Speaking of Robux for kids, another one of the stories was Niantic selling off their company to a Saudi Arabian owned company called Scopely.
I don't know if
it's not official, yet, but they've been in serious talks with the number already floating around of 3.5 billion. And I don't know much about Scopely other than what I've read from other people talking about like some of the other products or products that they have. They love to just take these live service-ish mobile games and monetize the shit out of it and just attract the whales. Someone talked about how I think they played some Star Trek game, Fleet Command or something like that. And then Scopely bought it up, and I think they said the cheapest loot box you can get there now is $100, 100 USD, like after Scopely purchased it. So maybe it was them trying to extract whatever they can from a dying game, or I don't know what, but that just is ridiculous to me. I'm like, what are they going to do to Pokemon Go? That already felt like it was going in a bad trajectory, and that's why I stopped playing, is when they started charging more for certain features that they were just giving to you, like with the raid pass, the mobile raid or remote raid passes.
Yeah, they used to give like free mobile raid passes, and they just don't anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they raised the price as well.
Yeah. And that's why I stopped. So I'm super predatory, and I'm like, an even more predatory company is gonna purchase them. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet, but damn, does this suck for gaming. So yeah.
July 2016 I think it was 2016 when that game came out.
Yeah,
it was a brilliant time. Beautiful.
Everybody
was out there, running around parks and shit.
Pokemon Go.
I was in Chicago when that game came out, and I saw so many people just running around on their phones through all of downtown. It was really cool.
I know. I totally agree. Had a similar experience in Seattle.
Say it was the closest we ever came to world peace.
I've seen that, yeah.
Maybe.
I think so. Everyone in this planet came together to celebrate Pokemon Go. So we'll see what happens there. The other thing, last bit, I know we're over that 1 hour mark now. This last bit of news that I saw was announced today was Xbox announces Muse, this generative AI model for gameplay and gameplay ideation. So they are going to use this. I have no idea. I guess they created this new AI model, and they're going to feed it games and like gameplay that they've created in order to generate more ideas for other games. And they spun it positively by saying this can be useful for games preservation. Like, I guess if you feed some of these older games into the models, they'll figure out a way to update the code or something, or make an older game that would require a huge like remaster. I don't know. They were just saying something about it. I have no idea what the technical aspect of it is, but I'm just like, damn, Xbox, I felt like you were doing kind of well right now, sticking to your or like kind of well in the media sense, maybe not financially, but
not with their hardware. But
not.
Well, now everything's an Xbox.
Right, my phone's an Xbox, so why would I buy an Xbox?
I love someone You guys have probably saw it where they changed the Gulf of Mexico name to "This is an Xbox" instead on like Google Maps
That's
or
pretty
something
funny.
like that.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just like, damn, this is a really tone deaf announcement. I have no idea what this is gonna look like for the future of their gameplay and like their
So,
game direction. Or,
On one hand, you have Microsoft doing that. On the other hand, you have Valve releasing the entire source code for Team Fortress 2 for free, just saying, hey, we're not really going to be touching this anymore.
yes.
Y'all want to make some cool stuff with the game? Source code. Have it.
That's so fucking sick. I
So,
love
Valve. Two different companies, very
Mm.
different
hugely
companies.
different philosophies there. Yeah. So been absolutely crazy. Okay, y'all, I tried to speed run the news there. I'm gonna save this article of the week for a different day, for a different thing.
Yeah, this was the Monster Hunter pod.
Yeah,
that's
this was
right.
the Monster Hunter pod.
Yeah.
So, all right, y'all. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you too for educating me, educating the audience. You made me into a Monster Hunter fan. For anyone who isn't already doing so, rate and review the pod, like I said, and follow us on any socials. We got Instagram, YouTube, not Bluetooth, Blue Sky, YouTube, Twitch. And if you have the financial means to do so, please help us out on our Patreon for $1 a month. That goes to all of us, quarter for each of us. So that's really gonna help us out. No, we appreciate it.
Close
But
to a
yeah,
coffee.
yeah, exactly. I could add an extra pump of vanilla or something into a
Yeah,
coffee.
there you
So,
go.
yeah. Anyways, y'all, take care of yourselves. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
Bye.